And we're live. Hello, everybody. Another Monday night. How about Tom over on Catfish Weekly? That was a fun show. Tom's a good guy. I consider him a good friend. It was great to see him on there. Man, did he catch a lot of fish last year. This gentleman had a goal of catching 365 fish a year in a calendar year, Christina, and he well surpassed it. I think he was like 25 fish over, and we're talking like big blues. I think he got a couple of channel cats mixed in there.
Wow.
So he did a heck of a job. So this is the part of this show where I say hello to all the good people out there in chat. So let me do that, and then we'll start with the interview. I want to give a big shout out to Betty. Betty, I know she's watching on the big screen. Hello, Betty. How you doing? Hello, Brandon. What's up, guys? I see two Stans fishing in the house. What's up, Stan? 3+1 Outdoors. How you doing, Larry? There's Air Run. What's going on, my friend? Alan Pershala. What's up, Alan? Annette Morgan, crew member, Avid Fisherman. What's up, Avid? How you doing? Thanks for sharing out my link in Catfish Weekly. I appreciate you. Big Bill's Veterans Catfishing. Bobcat Outdoors in the house. There's crew member Brian B. Catfishing. We got, hey, that's me in there. We got Catfish Fever and Outdoors. I think I saw as I was leaving you one in Catfish Weekly, Lynn. Good for you. There's crew member Aaron, Catfish Regulators. How you doing, buddy? I heard a rumor that you're going to be with your wife pretty soon. That's kind of cool. Congratulations again to you and Lisa. It's about time you guys got on the same side of the country. I'm sure she's going to love it out there. Catfishing with Kaz. How you doing, Kaz? We see Chrissy Brown in the house. She is also a crew member. Chunky Morgan. How you doing, Chunky? There's Creole Catfishing. I want to bring everybody to Creole's attention. He is short on hours to get monetized. So if you have some time, go over there and give him some view time. You know you like his content. He's got a lot of good stuff out there. And I highly recommend watching his summer video where they were making a crawfish boil. Oh my goodness. You know, Christina, I was outside shoveling like 8 inches of snow, and I left his thing running. I come in here to watch like summer weather and a crawfish boil.
Yeah.
Torture. Oh, look at this. We got a bacon fun. Thank you, Creole, for the super chat. Yeah, and I have a thing for bacon, so everybody likes to holler bacon at me in the chat.
Love bacon.
So do I. Oh, my goodness. Dan Thompson, Dale Hayslip, what's going on, guys? Dan Thompson is a crew member. David Smith in the house. Downtown, Ernie Brown. Ernie, I saw you were live today. Hopefully you got on a deer. Downey's Tackle. Fat Boy Eric Fishing. Fish and Freedom crew member. What's up, Richard? How you doing, bud? Say hello to Stephanie if she's not in here. I don't know if she is or not yet, but Fishing with Squirrel, Fishing Local 252. Freddie's Outdoor Adventures. What's going on, crew member Freddie? There's my sister Dee. She is also a great supporting crew member. Thank you, Dee, so much. Jeremy Colvin Fishing. What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy's another one that needs help getting his channel back because YouTube gave him the business. They really screwed him out of getting monetized. So go check out Jeremy Colvin Fishing. We got Mel over at Jersey Rat Outdoors. Joyce Stewart in the house. Crew member JP3 Outdoors. How you doing, JP3? Lisa Elliott in the house. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? She keeps changing. That is Catfish Regulators' better half. She keeps changing it from Lisa Elliott to Missing Catfish Regulators and so on. So I always got to pause when I read that. Mark Anthony in the house. The great Maurice Kaysen. What's up, Maurice? Mindy Hogan. How you doing, Mindy? What's going on, dear? I hope you're keeping keeping Uncle Lou out of trouble. Mr. Gadget Fishing. There's Roger, Muskrat Adventures. Nephew Austin. What's up, buddy? Thanks for being a crew member. No Reels. Hey, what's going on? No Real Lost Becks. Crew member, thank you. There's Kevin at Palmetto Cats. How you doing, Kevin? Parker Pursuits in the house. Quiet Man Curtis. Real and Virtual Outdoors. Hello, Troy. Scott Swift. Sean. I think it's Sean Chili. How you doing, Sean? Sean Abney, Solo Text Adventures. What's up, Ricky? There's Stephanie Cluck. How you doing, Stephanie? Takedown Catfishing. Tina Ladybug in the house. Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV. Another great channel supporter, crew member. There's crew member Van. Van, I hope you're feeling better. I asked you in another chat, but I think you either passed out or you left, so hopefully you are. I see Matt over at Want to Be Outdoors, and I see Whisker and Stripes, crew member. What is going on? I appreciate all you guys. Let's see if I missed anything. I did say hello to two Stans. Adrenaline Jackie in the house. There was a young lady that we were talking about a little bit. She's got a blog out in the middle of the desert, and I keep seeing her in these fishing chats and fishing shows and stuff. So it's cool to see that she's coming over here, even though I don't think she has much water available to her. Welcome. Ron, I said hello. Annette Morgan, I want to make sure I said hello to you. I got to go through this list a second time, Christine. There's Chunky Cats Fishing. What's going on, Chunky? How you doing, bud? Dale Hayslip, I think I got you. Downey's Tackle, Fat Boy Eric Fishing. I resemble Fat Boy, by the way. At least his name. Let's see. Joy, Lisa, Mark Anthony. I think we got everybody. We got almost 80 people in the chat. I appreciate every one of you. So let's get the show started. Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie podcast. My name is Mark, and today's guest is Miss Christina Lemke. How you doing, Christina?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I was thrilled to have you on the show today. We were talking a little bit about this before the show started. I am not fortunate enough to have children, but I do have nieces. And my nieces were some of my best fishing partners, which is why I'm a big supporter of any lady angler out there, because I know they have a separate set of hurdles that they do have to cross, whether to prove themselves or just to compete. You know, it is what it is. So I like to be supportive. Last week, my buddy Chad over on the bait shop, he had a show where all the wives took over. I should have sent you a link to that. They were all talking so much crap about their husbands. It was glorious.
Oh gosh, yeah, to be a fly on that wall of that one.
You know what's even more glorious about it? My wife, they don't have my wife's contact information.
Oh, good.
So they couldn't get in touch with her, or else I think I'd have been in big trouble.
Probably.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with where you're from.
I am from East Central Minnesota, Wyoming, Minnesota. It's probably about, 40 minutes, 35 minutes north of Minneapolis. So just shoot right up the freeway, head towards Duluth, and then you'll see my exit. And I'm originally from Minnesota. I was born in Duluth and grew up in Kettle River, Moose Lake, Barnum area. So lived in Milwaukee for a little while, but otherwise I've always lived in Minnesota.
Oh, so you were in Milwaukee. How long were you in Milwaukee for?
Almost 5 years, probably 4 to 5 years when I was married. Yeah.
Did you get to fish while you were down there?
Very little. Gosh, if I knew what I know now, I really would have done a lot better. But I remember meeting a young mom, when my son was doing half days in preschool, and met a gal, and she showed me a few little, ponds and streams and stuff. So I got to do some stuff, but nothing nearly like I would have liked.
Yeah, I have a feeling if you'd have known, you'd have tried to get on those browns, because that's
oh my goodness
list.
Yeah, I really.
And just south of there in Racine, man, that the steelhead bite and the king salmon bite in the falls, pretty righteous. So I mean, that's probably some of the best fishing that I have available to me. I'm about 2 hours from Racine, 2.5 hours from Milwaukee, so I try to make it that way. Also, the burbot fishing's pretty good up there in Milwaukee.
I didn't know. I knew about the trout, but I know that is something I would love to get over and get that opportunity to try both from open water and ice. You can go and at the port, I think you can get over there and kind of in that area.
Well,
or Washington or something.
Well, the Browns are right in I don't know if Luke's listening to this, he's gonna not approve of me sharing information, but right there at Summerfest grounds and and for that, and the bays and the harbors and stuff. So a lot of people they do very, very well out there. If you want specific spots, contact me. We can talk after the show. I'll give you some spot fish over there. But you're in God's country. Why am I even telling you that?
Yeah. That is on my bucket list to try.
Pontoon Jody, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you and everything you do. She's my number one fan.
I thought it was Luke Henches.
I don't know about that.
Or is that Lyle?
No, he's Lyle's number one fan. I think he's Lyle's number one son, is what it is. That's what he claims. That's what he claims. But we'll see what happens. I've been working on Lyle pretty hard. I want to say hello to SK's Crappie Catching Adventures. He's an awesome guy down in Texas. He catches some big crappie and a lot of them, Christina. So he's probably one of my crappie heroes out there, and it's always an honor to see him come into my show. Let me make a couple of announcements here since I got everybody's attention. Next week, I am going to make the announcements for March Madness, the 1-versus-1 bracket tournament that I'm holding next month. I'm going to have the rules hopefully in place. I'm going to have the contact information if you want to be entered into the random draw to get put on there. I am going to offer half payout of all super chats again for this one. So come back here next Monday, get all the details. We'll see if we can't get a couple of surprise guests on here, and we'll go from there. Also, I pretty much have a date picked out, not finalized, but picked out for the Size Matters Crappie tournament. I'm going to put a post up on my community tab asking if you guys think it would be better to have a 9-inch minimum to count or a 10-inch minimum. If we're going to go Size Matters, maybe we want to keep it to 10-inch and greater. So keep an eye out to that. I needed to make those announcements because people have been messaging me like crazy. So here we go. Look at this. You stop throwing my name around.
My mic is sounding kind of funny.
Oh, I can hear you just fine. You sound good.
Okay.
All right, we're good. Fish on Luke says, you stop throwing my name around. I knew you were watching.
Hey, Luke.
Catfishing with Kaz. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you. And I see Betty finally came in here. Betty, I shouted you out at the beginning like I always do. So I want to make sure that you hear that. If not, go back. I also want to say thank you. We got Bex over at No Real Loss. Wow, this is coming fast and furious today, Christina. Bex, No Real Loss. She's a crew member for 3 months. Thank you very much for your support for 3 months. That's awesome. And also we got another super chat from Mike's Fishing Home. Thank you very much. Ooh. He's Jody's catfishing friend. Catfishing friend? Is that what it is? Catfish friend? Catfish. I thought it was best catfishing, but I don't know. Price is righted since 5 months. Freebie got missed. Well, thank you very much, Mike's. I appreciate you. Excuse me. So you're up in Minnesota, and you were telling me that you're a guide up there, correct?
I do some stuff, yeah, here and there, kind of word of mouth. I did have some advertising a few seasons back, and I kind of pulled that down. But yeah, part-time, just some shore stuff and some ice stuff, multi-species sturgeon, cat.
Oh, you said the S word. We have a gentleman who happens to be in chat here who got on an Atlantic sturgeon out there on the James River that was 222 pounds. And he loves telling that story. So we started a sturgeon tip jar that usually people pay $2 to say sturgeon in here, but we're going to let you slide.
Uh-oh.
We're going to let you slide here. But okay, so you fish for sturgeon. I know you like fishing for flathead catfish during the summer, right?
Yep, I've pretty much that's become my favorite fish to chase. So
yours and mine both. I got flathead fever. You know what flathead fever is, right?
Well, if it's anything like buck fever, yeah.
Oh, it's nonstop. Buck fever is after you shoot one or after you see one. Mine doesn't go away.
Right. Mine neither. Pretty obsessed.
And Minnesota, it's kind of hard getting on them up there being the one pole state, correct?
It can be, yeah. On the Minnesota River, it's pretty tough. Depends on where you're at. Like if I'm on the St. Croix, it's border waters there. So on the Minnesota side, I can run 2 lines. On the Wisconsin side, I can run 3 lines. But if I go on Minnesota River, then yep, you're kind of stuck on 1. And then it's pretty much the same thing on the Mississippi unless you're on the border with Wisconsin there too. So
look at this. We got a super chat from Betty. Thank you so much, Betty. And you are my number 1 sister. Thank you, dear avid fisherman. It says he's paying the fine for you, Christina, the $2.
Thank you.
D is paying you see D's paying the $2.22 fine for you as well. So
that's nice. I wasn't aware of that rule.
That's okay. With the guests get a freebie. Nobody has to pay for. It gets pretty crazy around here. We got a lot of people who have that are moderators and such, and other people will pay me to take away their moderator just so they can ban them and hammer them. It gets to be crazy. And I've been known to I'm not going to read that out loud.
I can't even barely see it. I might need glasses.
I'll tell you after the show.
That meme, the 20 or that 10-year challenge where you need glasses to tie your fishing line. That's becoming more and more of a thing for me.
Oh
That
man,
was
I left
pretty
my
funny.
glasses at home. I left my reading glasses at home when I went out to fish. It took me literally like 10 minutes to tie a hook on one time. And if I was to do it on the ice with 2-pound test, forget it. I should just pack it up and go.
It's gotten a little harder this year. I've noticed for my ice fishing stuff. If I'm targeting panfish, that's mostly what I have on is pretty much 2 to 3 pound. And then if I know I'm going to target like walleye or something like that, then I go up a size, go up sizes. But yeah,
down here getting on the bigger fish. If you're not fishing a tip up or an automatic fisherman, which I believe they don't allow up there, correct?
I'm pretty sure not. Yeah. I know a lot of people use the
iFish.
The iFish Pros. Those are really popular. I don't have one yet, but I really do want to get one.
Everybody keeps, including Luke, and everybody else I know that iFish keeps raving about it. But
yeah,
I guess I'm old school. I picked up a couple of those auto fishermen's because I can use them, and I'm using those for catfish, and then I'll use the autos for pike and start. I mean the tip ups pike. So
I don't do a ton of tip up stuff every once in a while, but I've seen the autos and how they're used. They are pretty cool.
Sometimes they'll rip that hook right out of that cat, so you got to be careful what you're doing. Especially when you're using, like I use the Whisker Seekers ice rods, they're shorty 38s. Man, if I caught that in the face once, I had a mark on my face for like 2
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. It caught me right in the face. I do need to take another quick second here. I see that there's a lot of people that are celebrating their anniversaries as crew members. I see D at 10 months. Thank you, D. I see Pontoon Jody at 3 months. Thank you, Jody. And I see JP3 at 10 months. Thank you very much, JP3. I appreciate each and every one of you. So, and people are getting timed out in chat. I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. So, all right. So Luke brought up that you have a bigger flat than him, actually. Multiple bigger than you.
That's what that says.
So what are we talking about as far as your best flatheads?
Well, my personal best flathead is 47 by 30. And then I have a 46 by 31, and then I have quite a few, 40s, 45s, stuff like that. So,
you know what? You guys are going to make me get a muskie board because I'm still old. I still weigh. Everybody's talking about how their fish are X amount of inches and stuff. So I guess I need to start doing that because I'm not going to lie. I have no idea how big those fish are pound wise. Any idea? Have you done the conversion?
Yeah. So I usually there's 2 length by girth charts from the Minnesota DNR. I use one for flathead and then one for, the S species. And yep. And so that is a pretty close estimated weight. And there's what is it? Length by girth by girth. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. There's a formula, but so you can use that formula, but I just use the chart. So typically, a 47 inch fish, that's going to be anywhere from 45 to, 50 pounds.
That's a good fish. Yeah, that's a long fish.
Well, 30, the girth, it's pretty good fish. So
yeah,
I have only weighed one of my flatheads ever. It was my very first big one. And I had just like the Rapala 50-pound digi scale. And it maxed it out like nothing and broke my scale. And so I was like, well, okay. And, I just tried to handle the fish and get it back as fast as I could, but that was the only one I ever weighed because some people gave me crap for it and, actually made me realize that you can hurt the fish, holding it that way and weighing it by the jaw and all that.
We always recommend weighing them in a net or getting a sling.
Yep.
A lot of the more responsible anglers that I hang out with and ones that watch the show, we really try to promote that. And you can't go wrong. Even some of the trophy guys that are going after like the really big 100+ pound, catfish. I recommend that you do weigh it, but do it either in the net or in a sling and use like a meat scale. I had a buddy of mine peg 110-pound scale, so it'll happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Well, and for me, like being on shore, I could use my net, but I do so much solo fishing that, I mean, how would I even prove? Like, I would have to really have my phone set up good on good video to be able to get the weights, like lifting it in the net I don't know. I just would rather use the length by girth chart. That's the quickest thing for me to do. Get my pictures, videos, whatever, get it back to the water,
Absolutely.
So.
Austin over at Rock Bottom Cat says it's length times girth divided by 800.
Thank you.
That's what I hear. And Luke even says length times girth. So.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I usually just use the DNR chart length by girth. It's a fairly pretty decent, estimate.
Look at this. Even D and Chad got a muskie bumper board in. So maybe I need to pick up one of them. Maybe I'm going to be a changed man. I'm going to get a lot of business from Luke. I'm going to get a lot of business from Dad for that because he thinks I'm going to weigh him. So,
yeah.
So those are some good flats. Are you using bullheads up there? Or are you catching them on flat on cut bait?
So I most of the time, like I would say probably 99.9% of my time I'm using bullheads that I go catch. And then I just have like this old rolling cooler with a flip open lid, and I can hold probably 30 to 40 bullheads in there. And then I just with a plug-in wall aerator and I take probably around 20 per trip with me. You just never know how the bite's going to go, breaking off, whatever. And so sometimes I do cut bait depending season, when, like spring's supposed to be really good, for cut bait, and fall. My PB this last season came on a fresh cut sheephead. So, and I was actually
really,
and I was trying for, again, the S word, and
you can say sturgeon. I know the manager. I say it's all right.
So I was going for sturgeon. Actually, it was during the veterans sturgeon event in the fall, like they have up here out of Lakeside. I know Luke was a captain. I think Eric came up.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So yeah, I fished with Eric that evening after he was a guide. So I was on shore fishing when I caught, and he was out with his client, and I caught my PB flat on that sheephead, but I had a small circle hook on, and I don't usually use circles for my cats, unless maybe if I for sure know that I'm only going for channel cats. But I don't know. So usually for sturgeon, I run the circles, and so I had this like little 5/0, circle with this, I don't know, big old, I don't know what the heck I was doing out there, but I didn't think I was going to get a giant flathead, and especially on that spot where I was at. So kind of learned something on that trip out.
Roger's asking a question. Maybe you understand what he's talking about. He says, "Any thoughts on adding new content to your channel?"
Oh, on my YouTube channel?
Maybe.
Yeah, I do have a tiny little YouTube channel, and I think I have like, I don't know, maybe 50 followers, or and I haven't uploaded anything for the last few years. I do have some stuff I could put on there. I just haven't done it. And I don't keep up with it enough.
You're a busy lady, definitely. And you were saying, and this is where I'm going to set you up like I did Eric here. Here we go. You ready for this? You're a single mom, right?
Yep, single lady.
Gentlemen, if we have any single gentlemen out there in the Catfish family, she's quite the catch. You might want to shoot her a message, and don't send her any of those pictures. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Don't make me look like a jerk. Be gentlemen. Just so you know. And you mentioned you were fishing by yourself, which is why I brought that up.
Sure.
Go solo a lot, which is, it's. I know a lot of ladies that are afraid to do that.
Right.
Some of them for better reasons than other, whether it's the area or past experiences and stuff. So how do you get around that?
Well, I don't want to live my life in fear, you know. I mean, I've absolutely fallen in love with flathead fishing, and sometimes you got to go into certain areas, but I try to steer clear of stuff like that. I mean, there's plenty of places where I can find where I feel safe enough to fish alone, you know, and all night, all weekend, whatever it may be. Most of the time it's overnight into the morning and all weekend. But I've had a few situations where it was kind of hairy and uncomfortable, but you just kind of get through it, you know. But
Yeah, we have a couple.
I do get a lot of people, a lot of women ask me though, aren't you scared to be out there by yourself and at night? And I'm like, nah, I'm fishing.
There you go. I appreciate that, and yeah, we have a couple of ladies out here like Pontoon Jody and Catfishing with Cows. I know they fish alone quite a bit too,
Yeah.
so they're in there with you. And I didn't mean anything, you know. Yet in this day and age, you got to qualify
Yeah.
everything. I didn't mean anything other than that being a
Oh no,
legitimate concern for some ladies, so I wanted to address that.
it is really. And some, you know, in some areas that's what you're limited to is the urban in the city or in, you know, city limit fishing, which some of those areas can be some of the best fishing opportunities around, you know, like
Mhm.
still water. That's a great, but that, you know, the crime and whatever is really not, you know, we feel safe there, but you know, Stillwater is a good example where there's plenty of in city limit stuff, but Minneapolis, that's been getting crazy.
Yeah,
So
they
I
have
mean,
their issues up there, but that's another
oh
show for
man,
another time.
right, right.
Justin's fishing fetish says, does she want a man that fishes as good or better than her, or a complete beginner like me? And Justin's married, by the way.
Well, oh goodness. I mean, I just definitely want to find somebody that is gonna love fishing as much as I do. Whether they're at the same skill level or not, that doesn't matter. You know, sometimes it's hard for me to slow down and change my style to suit whoever I'm hanging out with or whatever that might not be at the same level as me. Um, so that can be kind of hard for me. I've found,
Mhm.
but they don't have to be as good or better. You know, it's fine. It's fine. I'm still learning. I mean, I think personally, fishing, you're learning every day, and if you're not, well,
I think that's why we go back, Christina. Wouldn't you agree? Because when
yeah,
you learn something and you're successful, whether it's just not getting on some fish, it's finding fish on new water or whatever it is. That's where I get the most joy out of fishing. For me, that's where I find most joy. So
yeah.
it's that adventure, that exploring, that discovery that does it. Definitely. Don R has a question. I believe he's up in North Dakota. He says, "Do you ever fish around Bismarck in the Missouri River?"
Missouri. I've never fished the Missouri. I've never fished Bismarck. I fished in North Dakota like once. Um, is it Lake Sac? I can't pronounce it right. Sacagawea. It's huge lake. It's a huge body of water.
Sacagawea?
Yeah. And I like went and checked that out, and I'm just like, I was overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't even know
Don't be
what
impressed,
I'm doing.
everybody in chat. I only knew that because I heard somebody else say it in a story or something. It's the only way. I can't pronounce half the lakes up there in Minnesota, to be honest with you.
So I have not had the opportunity to really fish over there. No.
Like, how do you say lake? Is it Winnebegoshish?
Winnebagosh?
Is it Winnebagosh? I just call it Lake Winnie my whole
Lake
life.
Winnie? I think you're talking about Winnebagosh.
I am the big square, big square almost lake, big round lake.
Yeah.
Miles been there a few times when I was a kid. Great place. But anyways, the names just brought that one to be.
We have a lot of interesting ones up here. A lot of native named lakes, you know, too. So some of those are kind of tongue twisters. But
We have a lot of gun talk in the chat. People saying how they protect themselves on the blank. So on the bank.
Yeah. I am unfortunately right now I don't have my carry and conceal. It's something I want to work on and do. Hopefully in the next year this season would be ideal.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. I think that anybody and everybody should go get it.
Yeah.
Let's get political. I don't think you should have to be taxed to exercise your right. But anyway, we'll go. All right, Matt over at Want to Be Outdoors. He says, "What does the woods part of your name represent?"
Woman of the woods and waters. Well, I do some hunting stuff, or I used to more so when I was younger and a few years back. But then I, got into cats and sturgeon, and then chasing fall fish. Well, it just runs into fall hunting, and so over the last couple of years, I've kind of gotten away from hunting, but I still love to go out into the woods and explore and camping, and so just kind of like outdoors, woods. I don't know. It's just a name I came up with, like, gosh, probably like 4 years ago or so, 5 years ago, and thought if I ever take off and really get out there and with like my, passions and potential guide business and stuff, that I wanted that name. So I just kind of liked it.
Luke's got a comment here. I couldn't pass that one up. He says, Big Dick Lake and Little Dick Lake are two of my favorites, right next to Johnson Lake. No joke.
Oh, I've actually heard, I swear I've heard of Big Dick Lake. I swear I've seen it on Navionics or something, or the Minnesota DNR Lake Finder.
We got people sending me messages. I'm not going to look.
Boy.
That would be rude. I think he's sending me middle finger ones all the time. So
oh, goodness.
But so we had a question about like your PB walleyes. You chase a lot of walleye, or do you chase a lot of walleye?
Well, more so on the river open water than ice. This over the weekend, I was trying to find some. Went to Leech for my first time, Leech Lake, and then I hit Mille Lacs on the way home. So unfortunately, I didn't connect with the walleye there, but open water on the river, Mississippi, Pool 2. There's some pretty good shore opportunity there. So I've gotten, some springtime, like around Easter pre-spawn, got on some bites there. And then actually my PB walleye came flathead fishing on a live bullhead. I got a 30-inch walleye last season. So
on a bullhead? That's crazy.
Yeah, on a live bullhead. The one night into the next morning, they just would not stop. And I thought it was like gar or channel cats, and it's just like walleye, and they just kept getting bigger throughout the night. And then finally, like dawn, twilight the next morning, I cracked one, and I seriously thought it was a big channel until I seen it close enough, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a walleye. I just lost my mind. I'm like, I finally got my dirty 30. I was so excited.
That's my goal. That's what is it? A 30-pound king, 30-inch. We've had this talk many times on this channel. 30-inch walleye, 30-pound king, 20-inch, at least down here, 20-inch smallie, and a 30-pound channel. Those are my four goldfish in life.
30. Oof.
Yeah.
So for a 30-pound channel, that's like what, 40 some inches?
I told you I don't measure them. I don't know, Christina. Put me on the spot. I'm supposed to look like the smart one here.
My PB channel cat came from the Red River a couple seasons ago, solo on the shore, pre-spawn. Oh my goodness. Second time ever fishing the Red River. I mean, just phenomenally insane. I was like a pig in the mud, like literally in the Red River clay riverbank, just full of mud, laughing, trying to handle two rods being folded over like tacos. It was crazy. But I got a 37-inch. That was my PB, and that, that's easily a 20-pounder, but I could, so 30 pound. Wow. That's giant.
Luke says a 38 can weigh 30 with a 25-inch girth.
Yeah. They blew up.
He says it's close enough.
Yeah.
I saw a 29.17 come out of a lake last year, and I'm going right back to that spot this year. I can't wait in the fall during this, right before the spawn. Half the people in chat know where I'm heading. So hopefully we'll get on it there.
I think I know what lake you're talking about.
Yeah, right in Madison there on the chain.
Yep.
We'll go after
I haven't hit it yet. I really, really want to badly. Oh, a couple different, that pre-spawn and ice.
It is bizarre. Ice, not so much. There's a lot. I've heard a lot of mixed mixed reviews on ice so far this year. It's not as good as it once was, even with the spring bite. I think the locals are getting mad that they've been so successful because that's more of a perch / pike, even some musky lake out there, and even some walleye in different parts of the chain. And you know how Wisconsin is, the north isn't so catfish friendly as the south. So
right.
So hopefully they'll get it figured out and they realize what kind of a gem they have right there.
Yes, it's an amazing fishery. Amazing. I've seen Luke, the Northwood stuff, and Troy and Amy and all them, and Eric. Wow, like holy, and I'm just like, I need to go there, but I haven't had that. It just hasn't panned out for me yet. I always say someday when I grow up, someday when I grow up.
I'll tell you what, I got to fish for sturgeon with Eric this year. And that was a lot of fun. But I've been up to the Wisconsin River since, and I think I'll keep going up there. That just up there's something about up north. If you got the weather, man, it's a hell of a place to fish. I can't put it any other way.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I like big rivers. I like the big rivers south. I like but lakes as far as that goes, and some of the rivers up north, you just can't beat it. It's definitely God's country up there. And there's something about there being taverns out in the middle of nowhere that really makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's this last season. I mean, I made it a goal to fish the Minnesota River because I wanted to get off the Croy, and so I did that, and I just found some really cool spots that are just off the grid. Like literally, I have no service. I'm alone off a minimal maintenance road, like out where no one is. It's just really peaceful, especially in today's day and age with everything going on. It's great.
And there's Ryan just showed up. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing? He's the one I told you that I stole that saying of about ice fishing, that I hate ice fishing. I love fishing ice fish. That's him right there. He's a good dude. He's a slayer too. He gets on some big fish. He fishes with Eric too from time to time, I believe. So he's a familiar. Oh, yeah. And Luke says he's going to spend 3 full days on Madison. I'm going to spend 6 up there then, Luke.
Take me with you.
Come on down. I'll give you the intel afterwards. We'll get it all set up. I saw something else here that I didn't want to miss. So people talking about cat count. Oh, right here. You got an invite right here from Uncle Josh from the One Ton Fishing Crew to come fish Kerr Lake in Virginia.
Oh my gosh. That would be awesome.
Did you see that somebody caught 112 pounder there during the ice bowl this week, and that's insane.
I did see that. That was a hog. Yeah, nuts. And I seen one guy in his suit, and he was all frozen, slimed. That's like us up here up north. Getting on ice sturgeon and stuff and whatever. You just get a big old slimy mess, frozen mess. It's fun.
Justin is asking, do pike mess with you when you're catfishing?
Do pike? Yeah, I've had a few pike take my baits. Just a couple though, and like springtime, spring cats. I've thrown cut red horse and stuff. I usually pick up some pike doing that. I've only had 1 or 2 pick up my bullhead. The one in particular, I really thought it was a flat. I mean, it took it and ran right into the wood. Like I'm like, whoa. Here it was a big pike, so
they'll do that. We got on some pike on the Madison chain, and some of these catfish guys really had some bad things to say about them. But I do like pike. They're fish from my youth too. So, and plus we got them. I could literally go like 3 blocks from my house, and I live in the suburbs, and I can get on some pretty decent pike right here in my backyard. So I'm pretty grateful about that, and they're fun to catch too. So
right. They're just kind of angry, and they'll bite at anything.
They will, especially if it's dead. They love dead bait. I still got to get that hot dog one under my belt. That's my next goal.
Oh,
we're gonna get one on a hot dog, and then we're gonna pickle that one. We'll make a video out of that. And then Luke came up with the idea of eating a hot dog after you use it, or smoking a hot dog. That's his idea. He can do that. So
yeah, and I never get into that. I've never used hot dogs as bait, or believe it or not, I've only used chicken liver like once or twice. But I didn't have any mesh netting to put it in, so that was a fail. And then I've never used, chicken boobs or whatever people like to use. Chicken and Kool-Aid. And
Josh from Pig Patrol calls them TIDDYS's, titties.
Yep.
So I'm not going to
Chicken
say the
titty.
other word. Yeah, exactly. A lot of
Yep.
people in the chat here and a lot of people in the Catfish family, they love using chicken, which I've come to be. I have never really had a problem, but I don't
Yeah.
give them much of the business. I always used to give them a lot of hard time because I'm a natural bait guy. But there's something when I was a kid, these old timers used to tell me you can catch a pike on a hot dog, and I didn't freaking believe them. And
Yeah.
everybody tells me it's true. So I'm going to give it a couple more. I'm going to give it a couple more shots, and if I get on them, I'll believe them. If not, I'm going to go visit their graves, and we're going to have words, old men.
I mean, there's plenty of people that catch quality fish on chicken. So hey, don't overlook it, right?
Absolutely. If you're looking to catch fish, that's a good way of doing it. Well, I mean, let's see what Don R says. Christina, Jody is great people. If you want to fish Lake Sakawee and Missouri River, I will help you out. See, you got
Wow.
lots of invitations coming on.
Thank you.
Good other people talking about pike. So, do you target pike quite a bit, or is that usually a bycatch? Like I know a lot of people.
Yeah. When I was, I don't know, when I was younger, I would say, and like probably 6 years ago, I did more of that stuff, more bass, more pike. Just a lot more like bobber fishing. Just I don't know. I just really changed my style of fishing and what I target and how. So mostly it's just a bycatch now. Yeah.
Kind of like my bass are. Like my PB bass came on a 1-inch minnow gulp. It's like ridiculous. That's another story though. But yeah, I totally get it. And I'll get a lot of I need to up my walleye game. Any tips?
Yeah, the mic kind of got all funky on you again.
I really need to up my walleye game, Christina. Can you give me any tips?
For walleye?
Walleye, yeah. I ask everybody who's a walleye fisherman that comes on my show to give me some tips. I'm not going to let you get away without giving me some tips.
Well, for me, cold water, let's say like Easter time. I throw number 12, number 14 husky jerks. So there's that really slow twitch, pause, but really slow, like slow where you can't even stand it slow, and cranking it back to you. And when they hit that thing, holy buckets, do they rail it? They just rail it. It's nuts. I finally I finally got that technique dialed down last spring, and once I figured it out, it was just game over.
It's one of my biggest problem. I fish for crappie quite a bit. Notice I didn't say I'm as super successful at catching crappie quite a bit. I said I fish for crappie quite a bit, so don't give me any flack in chat, folks. And that's so slow it's almost painful. I'm really familiar with, but for some reason with walleye, I just think I'm having a hard time getting that cadence down. That's making a difference. I've tried everything from, walleye suckers on jigs or shiners on jig heads to blade baits and stuff. And I don't know, for hard pack.
I guess my three favorite ways to target the river walleye are with the 12 to 14 size husky jerk. If I'm in a boat, I can go up to a number 7 rip and wrap, sometimes on shore, depending on the current. But 5 to a 7 in rip and wrap, and then the jigs and plastic. That's usually my three go-tos on the river.
Yeah, I do better with plastics, with paddle tails and stuff. I'll almost, but then I'll just bounce them up and down off the bottom. Maybe even fish them like a Ned rig almost. I'll put a Ned head on the top of them and get those tails to stand up a little bit. And I've had a little better luck with that. So what are your favorite colors to use in plastics for let's start with walleye.
For walleye, chartreuse is one of my favorite colors. Purple. Try to match your hatch, what's natural bait forage and where you're fishing. So like blue, your blues, your whites, pinks can be good. All kind of depends on your water clarity and stuff too, So.
Is that those sound like good crappie colors? I'm guessing you use those for crappie as well.
Yeah. Pretty much your standard, good producing colors, but sometimes they just want a weird oddball, thing
All
you
right.
wouldn't even think would work, but sometimes that works.
Cool.
So,
And what's the crappie fishing up by you? I know I see you catch a lot of them on the ice. Are you doing any open water fishing for them?
there's a few places I'd go, like pre-spawn, open water, but I do mostly stuff probably through the ice nowadays for crappie. But some early season pre-spawn, like bobber style. I use like a rocket bobber, and I like no weight, and then I just use like a Gamakatsu colored hook, like a pink or orange hook, and then we get really big, nice fatheads or shiners, and we'll just kind of huck and at night, and then so we use like we put on the little, what is it, the fill little night lights, you can turn them on and off. So I put them on my bobbers, and then you just wait. But caught some pretty nice crappies that way in the spring.
Yeah.
And then ice, yeah. I got a really good one last winter on the St. Croix. So the thing was 14 inches, but it was built like no other.
Yeah, some of them get pretty wide shoulders on them, and they'll put on weight pretty quick. As soon as they start getting those shoulders, I think that's when they get a little older. So a 14 inch, I've seen a 14-incher weigh up near on 2 pounds even. They've been that thick.
Yeah, it really was. I was like, holy cow. And people are like, what? That's only 14. And I'm like, yeah, look, here it is on the bump board. Like,
and they get real tall too. That's when they start really massive. Yeah, they look like freaks of nature. They don't look as freaky as those big bluegills. So, but they still get pretty impressive looking for sure. That's my goal. I want a 3-pounder on the wall here right behind me. I think that one of these days we're going to have to do a little traveling to get that done. So somebody actually caught a 4-pounder right an hour away from here this winter on the ice.
Holy man.
Every year one comes out of that one lake. And maybe I need to fish there at night. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah. Try it.
Yeah.
I love fishing at night. If I had my choice whether to fish day or night, I'd pick night. That's just,
And I'm just finally getting good at fishing for flatheads during the day too. That's the thing. I was trying to get away from the night fishing, and it just draws you right back in.
It does, yeah. Nighttime is the right time.
I think you're right. Christian Freedom says, does she hook her bullheads through the shoulders or behind the dorsal? Good question.
Usually behind the dorsal. Yeah. And I try to go at that angle or whatever. But Luke has that specific angle he uses. I kind of try to do that, but I hook them. I try to. It's almost like skin hooking them, but as light as I can get it. So they really have. They're really, the action on them is good.
Even in,
and I don't want to be able to cast them off, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I just try to hook them just right.
Want to be able to cast them, and especially if you're from the bank. If you're from the bank, sometimes you got to reach out, and you can't help it. I've had. It depends on the water conditions. I do both, and it depends on the hooks I'm using, stuff like that. So, but you had mentioned you don't use circle hooks as much for flatheads. You said, right?
No, yeah. Typically not so much anymore. When I very first started out, I was doing circles and very quickly realized that the gap is huge. It's huge, important, and especially if you're using live bait. So just one night I just had a horrible experience. Thankfully I was alone because it was so bad. It was embarrassing. And that's how, I just lost so many fish. It was just horrible. And I was talking to somebody about it, and he's like, I'm telling you, it's your hooks. You need to change your hook. So I ended up then going over to Big River Jays, like Gamakatsu Big River Jays. And then a Team Catfish Mighty Wide Kale hook. Then I ran those for up until last season when I got hooked up with Nocturnal Nation Catfishing. So now I'm trying to just run those, They have all sorts of different stuff, and they have really big stuff too. And their hooks are strong. I've never seen a strong hook. So.
I was out fishing with Cliff, and he had a whole bunch of them, and he was showing me some of the sizes and the gaps and
Isn't that crazy how big they are?
Yeah.
Number 13.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sometimes I think that's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need a 13 odd hook. I mean, I've
I
seen.
could see it for like Luke's like giant blue cat, like, over 100+ pound fish maybe, but
That's like when I
for
say that you don't need them or whatever. I don't have experience with blue cats or anything like
or
that.
maybe for like alligator gar or something like that,
Yeah.
for something like, well, or unless you're running like a really giant like red horse or something, live where you need that big hook. But I don't know. Corey sent me a bunch of really cool stuff, and so I got a whole package of a welcome
Cool.
to the team pack.
Maybe I'll pick some of them up this year. I've been meaning to check them out, and I know
Yeah.
some people that use them and they really like them.
Yeah, and they're tournament winning hooks too. I mean, we had a lot of guys and gals out there did really well this season down there and down south with those hooks in the tournaments. So
cool. So shout out to your sponsor, right?
yeah.
Pontoon Jody says, "Hi, Christina. I'm Jody. Nice to meet you. I love Flathead at night. Want to be friends? ? Oh, I thought that was a
Did
question.
we just become best friends?
Send her a friend request on Facebook, Jody.
Yeah.
Come on.
Find me on Facebook. Find me on Instagram.
Oh, look at this. You heard of bromances. This is like sister romances here. What the heck is going on? Roger says, what kind of boat does Christina run? Do you have a boat?
Oh, goodness. So I do have an old boat. It was my grandfather's boat. And my dad brought it down to me, I don't know, like 5 years ago, probably. And it was already like time to winterize when he brought it down. So it's just a little old 14-foot crest liner from the 70s. And it's got like a 9.9 Johnson on it from the 70s. I have not had the opportunity to fish out of it yet or run it. We winterized it, and then I ended up moving it over to my best friend's in Royalton. So it's almost 2 hours away. And then I was going to start kind of working on it and fixing it up so I could get out there, and just it hasn't happened yet. So no, a yes and no. I have a boat, but
you haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to find time to get everything you want to get done.
Well, and I don't know. It just takes a lot of time and money, to restore and fix stuff up. And the trailer is like, I honestly probably would be better off just getting a new trailer for it. I mean, there's so much updating on the hardware and everything that needs to be done. It's just not in my, I don't know. I would just rather just go fishing.
Boats are a lot of work.
I just want to go fishing. I don't want to fart around.
Yeah, how is here real quick? It says, see, you don't need a boat when you got friends like Luke. It says, me and Christina went and put in my old boat for sturgeon once, and you guys crushed it. Yeah, if you got friends with boats, you don't always need them.
Yeah, it's a treat for me to get in a boat. I mean, usually I don't bug people about it. I don't usually like to ask. I feel like that's kind of rude. Like, you should be invited out.
I agree.
But every once in a while, I'm like, God, I really want to get in a boat. But a perfect example, one night, I got the opportunity to get in a boat, and I got my ass kicked. I got skunked. So then we fished all night into the next morning, and then I went back, and I thought, well, it was only Saturday. I went out on a Friday. I said, screw it. I'm going to camp out. I'm going to fish the rest of the weekend on shore. Redemption, 5 fish. Until the next morning. I'm like, wow. So I don't always have the best of luck in the boats.
I just started boat fishing in like the last 3 years ago, and I've always been a bank fishing guy. I fished off boats. We had boats out on the Tippecanoe River and stuff and that, but I do better off the bank as well. I got my spots. I got some hidden spots that nobody knows about that I will not film, or even when we take pictures, we got the perfect angles that nobody knows where we're at. We're a couple of those guys, but boats it's different. It takes a while to get the hang of it. And I think up until like the year before last, that was a good year for me on a boat. Last year, percentage wise, was a really good year. I didn't get out as much as I wanted to, but it takes time. I mean, there's an art to it, definitely, from anchoring up to getting your boat just positioned right. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
Uncle Josh says, are you able to keep your sturgeon up there?
We do have a tagging season in September. So you can purchase a tag. I think it's like $10 or something like that. And then you're allowed to keep one, and it has to be 60 inches or bigger to keep it. So I don't purchase a tag. I have no need to keep one. Personally, I really wish that we could reduce that size down to something, like 45. We have so many like 35 to 40, 50-inch range fish. Like, why take the genetics out of the water, basically? You know, when we could, younger, smaller size fish probably taste better. But yes, we do have it. We do have a tagging season where you can keep.
When I was growing up, Lake Michigan sturgeon was a big deal. Every now and then, one of the old timers in the neighborhood would get one and they'd bring it home. And I couldn't tell you, what it tastes like. It was so long ago. So it must not have
Yeah.
been that good comparatively, because I don't remember, to be honest. I can tell
I
you what smell tastes like, but
Yeah.
not sturgeon. Yeah, I could definitely tell you what that smells like. It smells
I
like,
mean, I've
it's
heard
like
it's really good. I've heard it's really good meat. It's good smoked. I'm sure there's multiple ways you can cook it, whatever. Um, and then I'm a little bit of Ojibwe, so I know that it's a bit, its main thing
Mhm.
was and is a main staple of of their diet. So I know it's a good fish, and a fish of that size, that's a lot of meat.
Could feed a lot of people.
Yes,
Definitely. Matt has a question. He says, "Have you ever been to the Sturgeon Bowl? Is that a thing?
sturgeon bowl. I mean, it must be a thing. I have never been there.
If not, it
Um,
should."
well, they do, on the St. Croix through Fish Donkey, they do some different, sturgeon tournaments up
Mhm.
here, in Minnesota, and they do like a fall sturgeon tournament. So,
Do you do some tournament fishing or not?
I have throughout the last, probably about 5 years, some ice, some open water stuff. Um, I haven't done any catfish or sturgeon tournament. Well, I've done one sturgeon, but otherwise, just a couple ice fishing ones. So a couple open water multi.
Richard over at Fish and Freedom says, "When targeting flatheads with bullheads, are you casting them into brush, cut bank, rocks, or all of the above?"
Well, it really kind of depends on the spot I want to go to. Um, it just really depends on my spot. So usually, if I like to fish by some form of structure, so log jam, I'll pitch them over there by log jams. I try not to fish too rocky of stuff because you just lose so much stuff if you're not using some kind of float or,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't know. Most of the time it's like a log jam kind of thing, or I'm fishing some kind of where a transition where it's transitioning from sand to that rock or something, rip rap rock or something. Um, or like a hole, where I'm I'm like on a point or something, and I'm hucking one of my baits out into a hole, and then I'm hucking one up shallower or something like that towards maybe some wood.
And that's when you're on the Wisconsin side, correct? That you're
Well,
using.
on the Minnesota side, yeah, where I can
Okay.
use two. Now, if I were to go over onto the Wisconsin side, say like in Stillwater, where we have like a lift bridge that goes all the way across from the Minnesota side to the Wisconsin side, it's a walking bridge and bike bridge. But literally in the middle of that, you're like in the middle of the border of the water. You can fish three there. So, but yeah, I usually just do the two on the Croix on the Minnesota side, but sometimes I go over there.
Cool. And you had mentioned, that you bring like 30 bullheads with you. You got to be having a pretty productive night if you're bringing 30 bullheads with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I usually easily bring about 20 out. I mean, the most I've caught in one night for flathead is 6. Well, it was during the day actually. So my most I've caught in one outing is 6. But I always like to have extra because you just don't know. You don't know if you're going to cast baits off, you're going to snag baits off, how the bite's going to be. you know,
You got
if
a
I
bait
drop
tank?
my bait bucket or something, you know.
Yeah, I've done that. I've dropped one off a dock once. That really ended the trip pretty quick.
Right. So you just don't know what's going to happen out there. I
We
try to
got
go
lucky.
in prepared, you know.
We got lucky with the cast net that day. Thank goodness for that. I thought it was over and done with.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got any more questions. Do you guys have any more questions for Christina? I do want to remind everybody that her links are definitely out in the description to her social media, to your Instagram page, right? Woman of the
Yep.
of Water in the Woods, I believe, correct, is what I got on here. Yep. And
Well,
also,
another one.
and your Facebook page. If you want to be friends with her, go like her Facebook page. Go say a bunch of nice things. Tell her how much you enjoyed seeing her on the show. Hopefully, we'll get her a bunch more followers. And I want to say thank you, Christina, for being on the show. I really had a good time with you tonight. I'm glad I finally got to talk with you a little bit. I've been stalking your Facebook pictures forever. Your fish pics, not that other thing. I'm a married man, so I'm taken. Taken. But if you're a single guy out there, Christina might be interested in entertaining offers, but you better have your game together, because if not, you got me to answer to. So, Christina, again, thank you. Next weekend, guys, make sure you tune in. We're going to explain the 1-versus-1 March Madness bracket tournament. We're going to let you know how you can get involved. Also, I'm going to try and get my shit together for the Size Matters tournament. Keep an eye out on my community tab on YouTube. I'm going to have a poll up there to answer questions, and hopefully we'll get out and fish tomorrow, folks. I meant to get out today. That didn't happen. Tomorrow's going to be 45 degrees. We got 8 inches of ice. I think we're going to be good tomorrow, Christina.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous.
I got my eye on a brush pile of Christmas trees that I marked during the summer.
There you go.
Transferred over to my cell phone. We'll see if we can't get on the crappie bite. So everybody have a great day. Get out and fish. Like it says on my website, make life good, go fishing. Thank you again, Christina. Let me know if there's anything we can do for you, dear.